Welcome to Couch Watchers Go to the Movies. It's going to be our review series here on Couch Watchers. I guess a bit misleading right now since we didn't go to the movies. We watched this at home since all movie theaters are closed down. Gotta enforce that social distancing. I am one of your hosts, Joel Martinez, joined by, as always, Daniel Royal. Daniel, say hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello,
Today
hello.
we're going to be going over The Invisible Man.
The
Great
Invisible Man?
thriller just released actually a couple weeks ago here at on February 28th, I believe. Last it was like the last week of February. um Directed by, should I have this down, Lay oops uh
Oops.
directed by
Doing great,
Lay
buddy.
Winnell. Funny enough, they're just, as of recording right now, they're probably like mid movie. IGN's doing a watch along, a watch
Oh,
party thing like we do, but better, um, with the director.
no
So
way.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. Probably gonna check that out later. Just can get more information on the movie. It's based on off of an old 19, I think it was like 1930s film, Universal film. Part of, well, originally supposed to be part of the Dark Universe that Universal was trying to
Was it really?
set up. Yeah, um, but I think once Mummy and Dracula kind of bombed, they told them not to worry about that. Just to, instead of it being like one connected universe, it's just they're trying to revamp these older,
Monster
these
flicks.
classic, yeah, monster flicks, which is awesome because I don't know what this movie would have been had it, had they forced that onto this, because I
Yeah.
actually haven't seen either of those films, but they did not look good
Whew. The Mummy was
at
rough.
all.
The Mummy was
I
rough,
know I
man.
love me some Tom Cruise, but the Mummy just looked bad.
It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. I haven't seen Dracula, but the Mummy was
I
pretty
haven't
bad.
seen that one either. Um, but this movie, along with the original, was actually based off of uh an H.G. Wells book. Now, I think the original film, it was written by, the movie was written by some other author who had written a different uh book that was similar to The Invisible Man, that was a lot more murdery. So the original movie for The Invisible Man was a lot more murdery. There's a lot more killing in there, whereas the H.G. Wells book, it was about like one death in it. I can't seem to find it here. So this was a lot more in line with that. But Daniel, what are your thoughts on the movie?
Non spoiler reviews?
Non spoilers.
Non spoilers.
We'll start off with that.
Uh my thoughts on the movie. At first it was pretty slow for me. But I mean, other than the opening sequence, it was just all very confusing. But you kind of have a gist of what's going on. Then after that, it all seemed kind of slow, and knowing that it was the Invisible Man movie. Like I was keeping my eye out for little things moving, especially
Mm,
when they did very obvious uh, wide shot pullouts
mm-hmm.
of so you get a grander view of the room, and
Yeah.
uh, and when nothing happened, I was kind of disappointed, but I was also like, I guess because you're not
Well,
really
I
supposed to
see.
know he's there.
That's what I liked about the movie. Like it played with you in that way, like where it kept you engaged by doing nothing essentially, because
Yeah,
you understand the premise, right? You understand it's called The Invisible Man. Even if you like know nothing else, you know, beginning, you get the opening title shot, so it says The Invisible Man. You know what it's going to be about, an invisible man. So when you see uh empty space, you're like, well, he could be there. So you're constantly looking, trying to find him, trying to get clues, see if he is there or not.
yeah,
Um, because you want to know what's going on. You want to be in on it, especially with like uh movies like this where it's sort of weird to get and this is something the director talked about, where they, in order to make it interesting and to keep them mysterious instead of being making it about the Invisible Man, it was about the victim.
Yeah,
um because with any thrillers and stuff like this, once you know what's going on, it makes it less scary.
thrilling.
So by being on the other side, you're constantly guessing, and I think that was really smart.
Yeah, no, they. I think they did a really, really good job at keeping it focused on. God, I can't remember her name right now. Fuck,
Cecilia.
Cecilia. Yes. They or C, right? Didn't they call her C?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they did a pretty good job at keeping it more wrapped around Cecilia and kind of how things are going. It was interesting to see the progression of the character and how I don't know, just how the idea of her particular situation
Right.
was
So,
laid
I
out for
mean,
us.
have you seen the trailers?
I think I saw one.
I actually haven't seen the trailers, but I knew about the premise going in. It was like it's about like an abusive relationship, right? She gets out of this abusive relationship, and this guy is the Invisible Man. That's like pretty much all I knew.
Okay.
Um,
I just seen like the short clips like in front of YouTube videos
mhm.
of her just staring at a couch and she's like someone is sitting in that chair, which is a scene that we never got.
Yeah, I heard there was some scenes from the trailers that were not in the movie, sort of misleading, which is great because, and I'm really glad I didn't watch any trailers or anything. And this is something I've started doing, like ever since we watched. Wait, did I watch Hereditary with you?
No.
No. Okay. Well, ever since I watched Hereditary, I didn't know anything about that movie. I just knew it was good. Everyone was saying it was good. I'm like, okay, I'll go watch it. Um, and not seeing any of the trailers, like it gave me a complete different experience to the movie. Like I was thinking, uh, that everything that was happening could have been all in the mother's head, like she was just
Uh-huh.
going crazy.
Yeah.
And because they mentioned that, her mother was also, um she had dissociative, she like schizophrenia, right?
Mhm.
um and so I'm like, oh, it's called Hereditary, so I guess, like, she could just, it could all be in her head. But I didn't see the trailers, and I guess the trailers sort of give it away that spoilers, I guess, sorry for Hereditary, that it wasn't. um but because then I have those, like, the movie to have place those like constraints on my way of thinking for the movie, my experience, I came at it completely, completely different way, and it made the experience more enjoyable for me, I think. And so ever since watching that movie, I sort of, especially for movies like this, these like thrillers and anything that, mysteries, I prefer not to see anything. Just go at it blank. I think it's much more enjoyable that way. uh and I had a great time with this, man. I love these kind of movies, and I think it could have easily been really cheesy and really poorly done. They Since it was about a abusive relationship, and it was kind of like coming off of, it's coming off of the whole Me Too movement, and they could have easily, now this movie can be viewed as a bit shallow because it uses the, believing the victim, um because she's like experiencing these things that can't be explained. And everyone just has to, she looks like she sounds crazy, so it's it's uh it's a fine line to toe, and I think they did it well enough to make it a good thriller, without being, it was, unfortunately, it was shallow, so it didn't like really say anything about it, anything productive about the whole thing.
Yeah.
um so there's that.
Excuse me.
But it's not like a masterpiece of film, in that sense. but I think as a thriller, it functions really well. Uh, I think Elizabeth Moss as Cecilia was she did a fantastic job. I think the whole cast did a great job. I was really sympathetic towards them right off the bat. I think they had great chemistry. No one was really terrible, and I feel like with movies like this, the acting can be iffy and can be really hammy, you know.
Yeah.
But they all did a great job. I really liked everybody on screen, and hated the right people.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Well, since general impressions are out of the way, you want to get to spoilers now, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah?
Um, so I loved the whole beginning sequence. Was you said you found it kind of slow, and that's what I loved about it, right? Um, because I knew the basic premise. Even if you don't know the basic premise, I feel like the way it starts does a good enough job of like letting you know what's happening, right?
Uh.
Um, she wakes up, takes the she's careful not to wake him up. She takes her arm off of him, or off of her. You see the drug bottle, and you see that she takes his his water that's next to his side of the bed. She shakes it so you can see it fizzing, so you can see she drugged him. It's like, okay, well, she knocked him out. Then as she's slowly trying to sneak out of the place, the farther she goes, the camera like starts to pan towards uh
Elsewhere in the
elsewhere, right? It
yeah.
instead of focusing on her, it just sort of pans towards like a dark hallway. And you know, the language of film sort of tells you, to pay attention here. Like there's something here, and knowing that this is the Invisible Man, we know that he can be here.
Yeah.
So from right off, from the word go, it starts to make us look for things that maybe are or not there. And as she tries to sneak out, like it's pretty tense. She turns off all the cameras. She makes sure the only one that's on is on him, so she can keep looking. And I'm like, keep an eye on him, which is funny, being the visible man and all. And but she like barely does, like, which made me tense. And the music cues are also great. Like, they were never. It was never jump scary. It
Uh-huh.
was always there just to like create tension, which is I appreciate. Um, I like that nothing is hidden from her. Like she sees everything. He doesn't have to hide anything because he's the Invisible Man. I mean, like we see the suit, quote unquote. We see the suit. But she doesn't think anything of it
Mhm.
because it's fucking invisible. And I watched it twice through, like once the first time, and then again after. I'm like, I want to review this. And the second time through, I don't know if you picked this up. You were like a more focused viewer usually than I am. But the suit actually has like audio cues for when it's on screen,
Yeah,
and
the
you can
clicking.
hear them. What
The clicking.
the clicking? It sounds like I for me I would compare it to like cicadas.
Yeah.
Um, like water, like the way you hear like things, like effects for like water crystallizing into ice, or like glass,
Mm.
with like a hum of a bug zapper. It
Yeah.
was
I only noticed the clicking because of the subtitles, and we're like, because I was watching this with Alma.
mhm.
We're like,
So
where the
does it
fuck
give it
is
away
it?
every time he's on screen,
Kind of.
like the subtitles?
Yeah, kind of. It just says clicking sound continues, and it's like, what fucking clicking? We don't hear clicking, and we thought we had it loud. So that in that aspect, like we, like it just kind of seemed badly mixed because we had the TV fairly loud.
Hmm.
We didn't hear the clicking at all. It was probably intended to be more noticeable in a theater environment. Um,
Yeah, for sure. I think if I had watched this with Dolby Atmos, it would have been great.
oh hell
Like
yeah.
I didn't really notice it the first time. Like the first time, actually, well, no, like the first time I heard it in the opening when
Hmm.
she sees it. Um, but I didn't really like hear it throughout after that. Like I was too focused on anything else, I guess. Like trying to see him. I didn't really think about like hearing him.
Yeah.
I was trying to see if there was maybe like a shimmer or something like an outline, just any
Yeah, same.
visual
Some
clues.
predator kind of thing.
Yeah, to see that he was there, but I didn't at all think about like audio cues until like the second
Hmm.
time watching. I'm like, oh, okay, like I should check for uh try to see if I can hear this throughout the movie.
Yeah,
And
because that's the thing, right? Like when you think like invisibility, like no one really thinks, you know, like you're invisible, but you're not silent, you know.
yeah,
And
but also like how the like I can okay, so how do you what do you think goes into the technology behind? Because he's a so he makes a suit in the original movie and like book, like he the dude creates a serum that makes him invisible.
uh-huh,
But in here, the guy is an
Adrian.
optics. He works in optics. He's
Hmm.
really smart.
World leader in optics.
We're lead in optics. He's really
It
smart. He makes a
working.
suit that has like a bunch of cameras on him. I mean, if you're at this point, unless you haven't seen the movie, just don't care. If you're at this point, you know already what it looks like. It's really creepy. I don't like the way it looks. Um, because it's like if you've seen photos for trypophobia,
Oh god, yeah.
ugh, God, I hate that shit, and that made me really uncomfortable seeing it.
It looked
Um,
awesome to me.
it looks
Uh,
cool. Don't get me wrong, but because it makes me think of trypophobia, I just think of all
yeah.
those. I just think about holes in the hands, and it just no.
Hmm.
But what do you think? Like, how do you think it works?
Well, obviously like you see the close up of the suit when Cecilia finds it that there's cameras that constantly raise, and that's kind of what's making the buzzing sound.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they take in there's hundreds of cameras on this suit that are just taking in the environment around him. Um, and I think they kind of double as like projectors or some type of light refractor.
Mm-hmm.
So they take in the images around him and then just project it across himself in a very very good way because you cannot see shit when
At
he
all?
is
It's
on
completely
screen.
invisible.
Um, and yeah, it's fucking weird, man. As for him being quiet, like I because he has to be like a certain level of quiet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the fuck.
Got padded
It,
feet.
yeah, fucking created the sneakers from Black Panther. But he's real fucking quiet, and even his breathing, like you can't really hear it. Except except that one scene where she's outside and like you see the breath behind her, and it's like,
The
oh,
air.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that was he was just fucking with her.
yeah, that was just a dick move through and through. I mean, the entire movie is him just being a dick, but
Yeah. Oh God, I hated him.
God,
Um, I
is
so my guess for how it works is so I had recently watched like the day before I watched the movie. I watched Ghost Protocol,
uh-huh.
and if you recall in the movie, when they're in the Gremlin, they use like they have like a screen up in the at the end of the hallway and they have like a
Oh
camera
yeah.
to track the guy's eyes,
Mhm.
and that way it can like shift perspectives
Yeah.
to wherever he's looking, so it looks like the like like the back of the hallway while they're moving forward.
Mhm.
So my guess is that's what they're doing. All the cameras are both taking in on what's in front of them so that way they can project it on the back, but also tracking the eyes so that way as he moves, they always see the right angle, right? Because there's not just it's not just like a flat screen. It's all very angular, I guess.
Mhm.
So they need to see the right side of it. So that's my guess for how it works.
Yeah, and I think the honeycomb pattern of the suit itself kind of helps with that too. Um, because whenever you see these things having to do with like um invisibility or like cloaking or something, a lot of them like you know, it's just cool sci-fi shit, and it has a good look to it, but it has that like hexagonal pattern. Um, and I feel like there has to be something like, I don't know, a
This be
reason
the
other
reason
than
why.
just looking badass. Um, but yeah, I mean, I for like intricacies of the suit, like I couldn't even imagine. Like all I know is cameras are taking in information and projecting it outward to bend the light around this person, but the fact that it does it so fluidly is just fucking outrageous.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, definitely not. I don't think it's possible like that. It's so perfect,
yeah,
so
no.
perfect. Um, but yeah, you can hear him pretty much whenever he's on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's pretty cool. I there was a I don't remember if I heard it or not, but there is a moment when she like after she gets the and that's when she should have known she was fucked. When she got like the letter after like he dies
Yeah.
to uh go to his brother who's the in charge of his money because she's in his will or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um and he says you are physically close to him. And he points to the urn in at the back of the office.
Mm-hmm.
That was like, oh, you bitch.
Well, I mean, like,
Because as we know later, twist, he okay. So it's one thing that bothered me while I was watching the movie, and like I feel like everything makes sense. I don't know if you have any questions or anything like felt like they just threw it in there, but I feel like they seeded everything throughout the movie. Like when she hides the suit when she goes back to the place.
mm-hmm.
She hides the second suit that he finds. I'm like, why? The whole time I was like, why is there a second suit? You know, like that's why is there a
Prototype.
second one? Why are you hiding it? Whatever. And then at the end, when we find out the twist that he was in the suit at that point. And anyway, at the end, like this fucking asshole planned this whole time. He planned like every single part of it, pretty much. He
Mm-hmm.
knew she was pregnant. He wanted to drive her crazy. He wanted to put it in a place where she could do nothing but, is either you rot in prison or you come back, And when
Mm-hmm.
she says no, it's like, well, I'm coming back to life, bitch. I'm gonna resurrect, and then you're gonna look like a maniac. There's nothing left.
mm-hmm.
Choose me.
I mean, the way I took it was um, like once once uh once she got the letter about the will and stuff, like the way I took it was that everything after that was just to fucking just to drive her crazy, just to torture her, because he could have very easily killed her. And you kind of get the idea that she was pregnant when the doctor calls her about
Yeah, yeah.
the other, the blood work that she wanted to meet in person about. Um, and she had already mentioned beforehand that Adrian wanted a baby. Um, but yeah, to try to predict that he was this fucking calculated is a wild thought, but he is. And but yeah, when she went back to the house, found the second suit, I just like, okay, prototype, whatever. Or maybe he just put it there to charge, and he'll find that it's not there or whatever. Um, and when she stashed away the suit, I was like, there's either no way he doesn't fucking know that's there, or she's just gonna go back once everything's said and done and be like, hey, I trashed the suit, but I have another one, and this is how it works. This one works. Um, but to jump forward and do what she did, I was like, damn, that is a baller ass move.
There's a baller ass move.
Um,
Now, I think that's like the one thing that I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'll just go ahead and ignore the fact that, yeah, he didn't question where the second suit was. Like, he never looked for it. He
mm-hmm,
just assumed it was in the its containment cell or whatever the whole time.
mm-hmm.
Really? Okay,
What I want,
whatever.
what I want to know is too is that if they were both wearing the suits, could they see each other?
That's a good point.
Like, I'm invisible, you're invisible, hey.
Well,
But
because I feel like because it wasn't until the very end that his brother was wearing the suit. Like
Yeah.
at the end, when he stops her from killing herself, that was his brother.
Yeah.
Um, but before then, it was him.
Hmm.
We're assuming.
I
Well, that's
mean,
what she says, and like when the few times that he does speak, and says surprised, like it does sound like Adrian.
was it though?
It sounds, yeah. It
Was it
sounds,
his
those sound
brother
like
though?
Adrian. What do you mean?
Because I just assumed that once he got hurt and she bailed out, he just swapped places with the brother, um, and
No,
or his brother was on standby because you don't because Cecilia wasn't that far behind Adrian, and for him to get to the house before she does,
see, that's I was thinking that
like
too,
several minutes
but
before,
like when he speaks to Cecilia in the parking lot, it sounds like his brother.
to me it sounded like Adrian.
It sounds like his brother.
Okay,
It's I'm like
agree to disagree.
I'm like pretty sure it was his brother. Like I mean, agree to disagree. It's just because I watched it the second time, and so I was focusing more like to see if it was him or not, and it sounded
Hmm.
like a lot like his brother.
Yeah,
Um,
to me it sounded a lot like Adrian, but I mean, they are brothers, I
brothers,
guess.
yeah. Did you see that twist coming?
The brother?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah, a mile away. Once he showed up on screen, I was like, oh okay. It's either he's either the one that's doing this and Adrian is really dead, or they're in on it together.
Really? I didn't
Yeah,
I didn't I didn't get that at all.
yeah. No, it was a quick sell for me.
Cuz like he sold it to me that he didn't like his brother,
Hmm.
you know. As I don't know, I just didn't feel like he it just didn't feel like he was part of it.
Yeah, no. When I don't know when he was talking to Cecilia and he's like, my brother controlled me my entire life, and that's I always felt controlled by Adrian because that's what he does and stuff, and I hated him and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. You um next you're gonna say you were the brains behind the technology and blah 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 and but no, they didn't go that far. But that's kind of it just kind of gave me a general assumption of like, okay, the brother's gonna be in on this. Especially when he was kind of coming out the gate like, yeah, Cecilia is was with my brother and so were a lot of women for his money and blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, I guess I get that you're doing the lawyer thing, but you're also doing like I care about my brother thing. But also, do you really give a shit about your brother? You don't seem too broken up right now. I don't know. There were a lot of little things that were just like, yeah, he's in on it. There's no fucking way he's not in on it. The fact that they were both operating was a surprise to me.
Yeah, so I mean, we say it's Fred. I I definitely didn't pick up on it, but I could see, and that's one of the things. Like I said, why I like the film is like nothing felt crazy. You know, nothing
Mm-hmm.
felt like it was not seated throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what was I gonna say? Him, I still think them both operating. Even yeah, even when I got the second, because I was questioning that the whole time. I'm like, why is there a second suit? And never did I think his brother was, or there was somebody else like also in on it. Um, and I guess there wasn't really if the suit was in there and then she hid the suit, and he didn't find it or question where it was. So I don't know.
Um, yeah, no, like I said before, I just kind of figured the suit was a prototype, and he just had it there. Because otherwise, like, why the fuck would he ever put it back in the thing? But to me, I still feel like Adrian like got hurt and stuff, and he's like, all right, things are going a little weird. I can't have my blood out there. Uh, you do this because you're on standby, and you can get to the house faster and then take the fall and I'll be over here looking like I was kidnapped by you. But that's how I took it. Um, can we can we talk about the dinner scene with the
Of course, I
sister?
was gonna bring that up right now too. Yeah.
The scene with the sister when they finally go out to dinner. I mean, the sister's being kind of an asshole to the waiter.
I love that though.
It was God, I hated it. It
I
was so
loved
bad.
it.
Um, but but then when she finally starts showing the sister, or like starts telling you, it's like he has this suit. I found one, like blah blah blah, and you just the sister's like staring at her like, what the fuck is going on? And you're like, yeah, this is crazy information. I'm glad she's not like questioning it. And then the camera turns to look at Cecilia, and the fucking knife is just floating there.
I know. And then
And
swiftly, like so smoothly, swings across, slits her throat, then floats right back to
yeah,
right into her hand, which was up.
yeah, just quickly lifts Cecilia's hand, slices her throat, and pulls the thing back. It was one fluid motion, and it was ridiculous. And then people were around her just staring at her, and I get it. Somebody just fucking got their neck open next to you at dinner. You weren't expecting that. But also, did no one in the restaurant not see that there was a
Right? I was like,
floating
what?
fucking knife?
I was like, what? No one saw. No one saw. Is there no cameras on this fucking dining room?
Yeah, I just when it comes to like cameras and technology and stuff, I just kind of assume that Adrian is like fucking Batman, and he has a way of disrupting
Then
it,
at the
or
same
just
time,
he
it's like
knows he's
no one's gonna think
calculated.
to look at it. Also,
Yeah,
really, right? Like there is no one's gonna believe there's an invisible man that did it. Like it wasn't me. I mean, they're just
yeah,
not gonna believe that.
yeah, and it was kind of it kind of got old after a while, because it's like obviously no one's gonna fucking believe her because it's an invisible person, and then she's also claiming that the man that everyone thinks committed suicide is somehow back to torture her, and that kind of got a little tiresome for me, because like, okay, like this is something that happens, of course no one's gonna believe her, but then then it gets to the mental institution, and all of these guards are just getting laid out, and mind you, Adrian only kills one of them, or rather the invisible man only kills one person in that
Hmm.
entire security staff. And it's like, what in the fuck? What is everybody else supposed to think? Like, is that one guard just supposed to think that he blew out his own fucking knee? Like, or the other guards just thinking that they're getting their asses handed to them by Cecilia? Like what the fuck is happening? Oh, when okay, to backtrack a little bit, when the daughter um gets hit after finding Cecilia on the floor crying,
Hmm.
I'm like, do you really think that was her?
I know,
Like,
right?
do you honestly
I
you
mean,
were looking directly at her? Like,
well, she was looking. She looked down.
yeah, but you can
She looked
still,
down. She like sighed. It was like a sigh of relief. She looks down. Um, and like her hair is covering her view of anything really.
yeah,
So
I don't
she
know.
gets hit.
I call shenanigans.
I mean, I called
I call
shenanigans too. The second
shenanigans.
time, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see it. And again, if there's no one else in the room and you get hit like that, you just kind of blame the one person in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
That's
get
just
it. I get it, but also what the fuck, you know?
no. I mean, again, I was yelling at the screen too. I'm like, nah, like that's bullshit. Like like it wasn't her. Like it wasn't her.
Yeah,
But I
but
also understand why she would think it was her. Especially because
I guess.
the first time I thought like she was looking at her, but the
Mhm.
second time through, I just try to make sure like it was to call bullshit. Um, and no, she was looking down like she wasn't actually seeing what was going on. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. It's dumb, but
Yeah,
I hate you.
whatever. Um, but to get to the meat of it all, god damn, when she goes and sees Adrian,
Oh
oh,
yeah,
at the
I
end, and
was
you were what?
I was actually kind of like yeah, I'm glad she did it. I'm glad she got him, but also like I wanted her to like get him confessing and him to fucking go to prison and shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I wanted him to I don't know. I kind of wanted him to receive justice the lawful way. But also, yeah, fuck him.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, it could have gone one of three ways, you know. Like it could have ended like it ended, which is her donning the invisible suit and just fucking slicing his neck open. Um, it could have ended the lawful way, where he confesses because he's stupid all of a sudden, and I feel like that would have broken the story. But um, it could be like overconfidence too, I guess, if you want to spin it that way. But I would have found it to be just stupid. Like all of a sudden, this character has lost all of his intelligence. Or the third way could have been like she somehow finds a way to torture him for the rest of his life. Like, I'm gonna be here and you're gonna have no way of knowing that I am with you at all times, you know? Which
Mm.
also could have been a very interesting way to go about it. Um, but I like the way that they went about it. I like that she seemingly failed to get him to confess, and Adrian's like, I know you're wearing a wire, basically, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not stupid enough to confess even in front of my own cameras that don't record audio. Like like I'm not gonna say anything. You are who you are, even if it's um just like a ruse to be like, I'm not gonna confess because I know it's gonna drive you insane and you have nowhere
Yeah,
else to go.
it's not just
Or
that, but it's him continuing to like gaslight her.
yeah.
He's not just
Um
gonna stop.
yeah, and I enjoyed seeing her seemingly fail to the audience. Um and then say that she's gonna go um freshen up, and then I fully thought that, you know, she was gonna come back and find some way to, you know, um to get him to confess or something else was gonna happen. But you just see the security cam POV, and Adrian just grabs a knife in his own hand, which was a good touch, um and just slices up his own throat and commits
Mm-hmm.
suicide. And then she comes out seconds
Makes
later.
sense why she chose because like when she gets there, he's like, I wasn't sure what you're gonna be in the mood in, so I got like a bunch of different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sushi, pasta, steak, whatever
Steak,
you want, you
yeah.
know. Um, and
She's
she's like,
like,
I'll
I'll
have
have the steak.
steak,
Yeah.
which makes sense at that point. Like, you gonna kind of need
A knife.
uh a steak knife, yeah, if you're gonna have steak.
He killed him with a fucking chopstick.
He was unstable. He just really wanted to go. I don't know, officer.
um, but yeah, no. The fact that she came in seemingly seconds later, because he wasn't gonna survive more than 2 minutes with that injury. The fact that she came in seconds later, just hair looking perfectly fine, dress looking perfectly fine, and everything, and just sell it that way. It's like, wow, she very much thought that through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and then she comes out and she can't resist just being like surprise, you know. Um, which is interesting because that's a bold chance considering that her friend was listening in,
Mm-hmm.
but she had to calculate that he would immediately leave the car and go check on her once she started screaming, and that
Yeah.
was a really smart moment for her. Hopefully it wasn't getting recorded because that does seem kind of weird. Um,
Yeah.
but
I figure there's James is her cop buddy.
okay,
Um like we'll just cut that out, you know.
yeah. Um, how did you feel when James got there and she's just very chill and just like he definitely knows now. Um, because I'm just like I can't really tell if he agrees with what she did or if he's just like, you know what, you painted me into a corner. I can't prove shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay, looks like he killed himself.
I think there's that. Like he's not he's not happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
But also he's not happy about it. He can't do anything, but also at the same time he kind of this guy killed
His
um
girlfriend.
his girlfriend. This guy was gonna kill him and his daughter. Or I guess it was
Mm-hmm.
his brother, right? But you know.
Either way.
So it's not like he's not
innocent.
innocent, but also he's not like he doesn't feel bad for this guy. He's just would have preferred to do the right thing.
Yeah, because he's a cop.
Yeah, because he's a cat.
Yeah, yeah, but that was a very interesting moment, and I'm just like, man, she's just gonna fucking go off to Cabo or something and just hang out, use her new super suit for good. Join the Fantastic Four. I don't know.
Yeah, I really like this movie, man.
Yeah,
It
no,
was
it was
really
good.
it was really well paced. I think. I mean, I didn't think it was slow. I think it was intentional, and for me, it worked at every step of the way. And even watching it the second time through, it was still good. I thought it was gonna be. I think it worked better the second time through because I didn't have to focus as intensely, or not intensely, but I was able to focus on the extra things and um be able to appreciate everything else. So it was still enjoyable the second time through. I liked it
Yeah.
a lot. I really enjoyed this movie.
Um, yeah, no, I thought it was a hell of a ride, and I'm very glad that it didn't end up part of the dark universe for Universal, um, because I could not have it go the way of the Mummy. Which was
No.
very interesting because like in the Mummy, like obviously the the villain is the Mummy, you know,
Hmm.
but in the end, and spoilers for the Mummy, um, Tom Cruise becomes the Mummy. Um, so
Oh
he
shit.
has he has mummy powers. I don't even know
Mummy
if you would,
powers.
if you would call them mummy powers, but he becomes the mummy, and then he just rides off into the sunset on a white Bronco. I don't know if it's a Bronco. I can't remember if it's white, but he rides off into the sunset in the desert with a horse. Um, and he goes to live life as the mummy, which is essentially what happened here. Um, she took something that was the antagonist's weapon and went and took it for herself and seemingly gonna go just live life with this thing. It's not like she's gonna like pawn it or anything, you know?
Hmm.
Um, so presumably, like, if this thing can just run forever and doesn't need to be charged like in a very particular way, and doesn't need an iPad to turn it on and off,
Well, hey, does she still get is she still part of his will? Does she still get the money?
um, pending her not doing any
Committing any crimes or
committing any
like
crimes.
being
Yeah.
deemed mentally unfit?
And she never signed the papers for it all to go away, and she never
Hmm.
gave the brother a chance. So presumably no, but I think um, she still has some of the money, maybe. So I mean, even then, she doesn't really need it. She can find her way onto an empty seat of a plane, or onto very many boats, onto trucks, whatever.
Well, yeah, I was more like if the suit needs to be like charged or whatever, she can. If any of his stuff goes to her, if she has the money, maybe she can just buy everything,
True.
buy the house and continue living there or whatever.
Yeah. Or she could just stroll back into the house because she knows how to get in apparently.
Yeah.
And it's not like the cops are gonna be watching that house. Um, maybe it just won't go to anyone because the brother and Adrian are dead. Either way, um, my hope is that she went off into the world and decided to, I don't know, learn how to paint something,
Well, I
get a
mean,
hobby.
she might already know how to paint. She's an architect. She's pretty good.
Oh yeah,
She's a pretty good
yeah.
artist.
But yeah, so that's yeah, the Invisible
That
Man.
was it.
It
That
was
was
a
it.
good watch. It was a good watch. It was worth the
It was a
20
great
bucks.
watch. Thank you guys for listening to our very first review, first of many. Hopefully, we'll see how things
Hopefully.
go. Um, this will. I feel like I kind of want to keep these reviews to new movies.
Uh huh.
Um, so we'll see how things go as we, you know, as things come on demand. Because of things being closed and how long this goes on for. So I don't know what the cadence will be for these films, because the movies aren't cheap to like rent, right out of theaters. This was
Yeah.
$20 to rent. Worth it. but definitely not something we can. I mean, then again, like if I were to pay for like a Dolby ticket, that's $24, pretty much, or it's like $20 between there. So it's not like too different, but still. Until next time, Daniel,
Yeah, buddy.
thank you for joining me.
Of course, anytime. Thank
We
you
have been
for
Couch Watchers.
thank you for joining me.
Who?
You,
Who am I?
Joel.
That's right. I'm Joel Martinez. Thank you guys for thank you guys for watching.
I was talking to the
Good.
invisible man.
Oh, goodbye
Goodbye.
and surprise.
Boo.
Yeah.